In this video, I'll be reviewing the 1957 apocalyptic book On the Beach by Nevil Shute, a book I started years ago. I originally DNF'd it halfway through, and then I read the remaining half in one random afternoon after rereading the Hunger Games series. Pretty random, I know. Please like and subscribe and tell us what you think in the comments. There's something for everyone on this channel. For the scores, On the Beach gets the following. Plot 10, bad score, I know. Nothing happens in this book. It's quite frustrating. Even the part where one would think something happens, it doesn't. Characters 30, emotional impact 65, pacing 60. The pacing is this high due to the second half of the book. The first half is insanely slow, hence why I got DNF'd. Writing style 50, themes 55, uniqueness 100. This is the unfortunate tale of an author with an elite concept, but not elite execution. But I do have to highlight the fact that the uniqueness is crazy. It's very good. I like it. I appreciate the concept. Book cover 80, overall score 46.5. On the Beach is essentially an exploration of humanity in the face of inevitable death. Set in Australia after a global nuclear war, the story follows a group of characters grappling with the slow encroachment of deadly radiation that is gradually heading towards the global south. Because this isn't an instant type of post-apocalyptic book with, a major event that's already happened or is currently happening quickly, this book is the slow kind of apocalyptic book. Shute uses the characters to explore how humans can find routine, dignity and meaning in the face of certain death. One of the main characters is a part of the American Navy, and we follow him for a lot of the book as he leads this kind of double life. He has a quote-unquote wife and kids in America, but they have surely perished due to the nuclear war. However, he still kind of holds out this weird hope that he'll see them, and he moves like he is still married. He still moves like this as he makes friends in Australia. In particular, he makes friends with this woman who is a prostitute. The book doesn't explore her sex work, but she is what she is. They spend time together and they are platonic, but it's a weird end of the world situationship that isn't physical at all. Anyway, we follow other characters in this small Australian town, and to be honest, that's about it. I don't have a favorite character because the characters don't serve that kind of purpose, to be honest. And they're not written to be very distinguishable. It's a strange book, and there's a reason why I DNF'd it halfway through. The blurb mentioned this, but in the middle of the book, the Navy men are called, I know they're not called Navy men, but my brain's just fried. The Navy men are called to do a mission due to a signal coming from America that they're picking up on like the radio or whatever. So they go in their submarine to see what's happening outside in the world. It's during this journey that we finally get to see the world that is affected with radiation, and this all happens in the second half of the book. I was extremely disappointed that nothing came of this mission. Nothing happens. A few minor things take place, nothing that will, change the way I feel about the book or anything. Nothing major happens, and they just head straight back to Australia. It's baffling. Speaking of the second half of the book, after the missions ended, the radiation has reached Australia and it's slowly making its way towards the town that we're set in. As time winds down, the residents do some cool things during their last days in order to have some fun before it's all said and done. This book, like The Unit, and you can watch my book review for that here, and The Children of Men, again you can watch the review for that here. All three books are very comfortable, orderly, apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic books, which is something I'm realizing I don't like, but the premise for all three books is what drew me in, and it's crazy how the execution on all of the books is lackluster. I didn't like this book. It was painfully slow at times, especially in the beginning, and it didn't really offer anything in terms of message. I remember when I first read the first half of the book and it dragged. Honestly, it just went on and on and on, and so that's that. What I did like, however, was the ending. The ending was the greatest part of this book by far. because towards the ending, the cracks are starting to show with this world and the characters. Little by little, they learn more about the places that the radiation has reached within Australia, and so the civilized part is eroded slowly. And it's just small things, you know, shops not accepting money, people stop going to work, the bins aren't collected, there's a little bit of looting, but again, that's like a throwaway comment as opposed to being explored. These are all described casually, and it isn't like a typical disaster where things really are falling apart and it's fast paced and there's violence and there's just chaos everywhere. It is not that. People are still able to just shop, but you know, them not accepting money is like an inconvenience of sorts, you know. It's weird. People are still writing checks, you know. It's very strange. What's so great about the ending, and it's quite something, it's the various ways people react to death. I love reading about things like that. There's just so much one could do with it, and in this book, Shoot actually does that, because each character reacts to death in different ways, and they slowly accept the radiation, and the radiation slowly hits them at different times also. And also, I was so surprised that the ending really moved me, because this book isn't emotional at all. Like I said, there's no real deep exploration about human nature for it to be poignant, like with Blindness. And you can watch my book review for Blindness here. Blindness was so poignant and so emotional, and yeah, it was a lot. That was proper. But obviously on the beach, it doesn't happen. But in this book, seeing people's last acts as they know that the inevitable was moments away was quite beautiful and quite touching. There was a purpose and a drive in the characters that was missing for most of the book. I was so surprised that this book actually touched me. I'm literally, it saved this book, because it should be rated like in the 20s or maybe even the teens. It was bad. When it's all said and done, I don't recommend this book. It's not good, and just like The Unit, the ending doesn't make up for the majority of the book. If you want to see my other book reviews, check out the playlist that's on the screen. There's something there for you, I promise. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.